Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of Around the Slice. We are, of course, here for the Bills Jets rematch preview show. As we know, the Jets already have a head-to-head victory over the Bills in Week 1, where they did win with an Xavier Gibson walk-off return touchdown, heartbreaking fashion. But 10 weeks later, we'll see if the Bills can bounce back and be 1-1 against the Jets this year. But before we get into the actual preview chunk of this episode, which this episode is centered on, obviously, I want to expand on this whole Ken Dorsey situation. Now, on Tuesday, a couple hours after he was fired, I came on here and talked about Ken Dorsey for 10 or so minutes in the beginning portion of the Bills Broncos recap episode. If you want to hear my full thoughts on Ken Dorsey, who's to blame here, this whole organization moving forward, basically anything about the Ken Dorsey situation, and go watch that episode. There's some good nuggets in there. I highly implore you and encourage that you do. But I want to talk about this transition now. I want to kind of go more in depth on Joe Brady. So obviously, as we know, and who's really like how McDermott's operating going forward. Obviously, I mentioned Joe Brady, as you may or may not know, was the offensive coordinator for LSU in 2019. Of course, Joe Burrow, but mainly he coached superstars Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on that national championship squad. Again, 2019 LSU team. Loaded. But I get the point that those players probably didn't need to be not probably they really didn't need to be coached up. They're superstars. Even in college, they were superstars in the making. You could just tell they had that it factor. Yeah, they didn't need to be coached up, but Joe Brady has at least been around superstar wide receivers at an offensive coordinator level. I know it's in college, but he's been around superstar wide receivers. If he's been around Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, he'll be around superstar talent in Buffalo like Stephon Diggs. He's schemed guys open like Jefferson Chase again. He can scheme a guy like Stephon Diggs open, and I feel like he's going to feed Diggs a lot. And actually, that will be included in one of my specific 5-game predictions. Um, but now I want to talk about how like the offense is going to operate in game. Will Joe Brady be up in the booth? Will Joe Brady be down the sideline? Well, right before I recorded, he just talked to the media at One Bills Drive in Orchard Park, and he was basically asked about that. I don't remember word for word, but he's basically asked, is he going to coach and call plays as an OC offense coordinator from the booth up top, or is he going to be down on the sideline? This is my thought process. Ken Dorsey was in the booth, and clearly there was a clear disconnect between him, Sean McDermott, and Josh Allen. We've moved past that. But let's learn from that. And in my opinion, you have Joe Brady coach on the sideline. If Josh Allen is dejected on the sideline and is a turnover and looks totally disappointed like he always does the last handful of games, then the offensive coordinator should be down there to talk to him and say, hey, Josh, let's get back on track, and maybe can huddle his offense and light a fire under them. Light a fire in their gut, if you will. It has always been my belief that obviously with the whole Ken Dorsey Joe Brady transition, I've been thinking quite a bit about this lately. It has always been my belief, and I will always believe this, that offensive coordinator, head coach, your two coordinators should be on the sideline with the head coach and players. Head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator should be on the sideline. That's just what it is. They're coordinators. They have to take control of the offense or defense respectively. They should be down there. And then other position coaches can be up in the booth, O-line, wide receiver, quarterback, whatever. Well, maybe not quarterback because he can cut directly to QB. But I think it's a must. I think you have to have your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. In this case, Sean McDermott's the defensive coordinator as well as head coach. So I think Joe Brady needs to be down the sideline. I mean, perfect example. Look at Matt Canada. First 4 or 5 weeks of the season, he's up in the booth. There was a clear disconnect. Things weren't going well. The offense was kind of slow. They weren't winning much in the early portion of the season. And then he comes down to the sideline, and Kenny Pickett, Deontay Johnson, and George Pickens and Jalen Warren, they have all said that Matt Canada being down the sideline it has improved things. Not drastically improved, but it has improved things because that communication piece is key. They said they know what's expected. If the guy you can talk to your OC, basically your boss, if you will, on the sideline. So it worked for them. So I think Joe Brady needs to be on the sideline. I will get into logistics, how fast we're going to see improvement, how fast we're going to see the Joe Brady effect, if you will, throughout this preview. But speaking of that, let's actually get to this preview. So obviously, I always like to provide you guys the baseline broadcast information so you know where to stream this game, cable or internet. In my case, as usual, it's YouTube TV, so internet streaming. But nonetheless, it is Jets at Bills. So this time instead of New Jersey, I know New York Jets, technically East Rutherford, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, whatever. It's in Orchard Park. So Jets at Bills this Sunday, November 19th at 4:25 p.m. on CBS. I don't know who the Buckeyes will be, but this starts like a slew. I think literally the next 4 or 5 games are 4:25 games. I know for a fact Chiefs and Eagles are. I'll have to look at the other ones. The Patriots matchup is the only other 1:00 game, and that's week 17. So we got a lot of 4:25 games coming up in the docket. Personally, I'm just glad they're not in primetime anymore. 3 weeks in a row they played Thursday Night Football on Prime Video against the Bucs. Looked pretty bad in the second half. Stalled out offense. Sunday Night Football Bengals. We know how that went. Monday Night Football just this past Monday, so 3 days ago. Broncos. I did recap that. Again, go watch it. I encourage you to watch it. Or listen, whatever platform you're on. I do appreciate that. But back to the topic at hand, I just am glad. I love seeing primetime. I'm just glad they're out of primetime so we can get back on track here, not have to stress at night, especially. So that is the broadcast information. Now injuries. Let me get to the injury report. So I am recording this. I always like to preface with when I'm recording this, just if you're watching this after, just know that I don't have today's injury report or Friday, which is tomorrow's injury report. So this is the practice report for the Buffalo Bills for Wednesday, November 15th. So it was only a walkthrough, which is really kind of a lighter practice. There's no pads. It's kind of just an estimation of who would practice and who wouldn't. Cornerback Christian, so don't take this to heart, really. Don't take this to the bank, if you will. Cornerback Christian, still a good reference. Cornerback Christian Benford, limited with a hamstring. Safety Micah Hyde, limited with a neck flex stinger. Defensive back Cam Lewis, limited with a shoulder. Defensive tackle Jordan Phillips, DNP with a knee. Wide receiver Trent Sherfield, DNP with an ankle. Linebacker Dorian Williams, limited with a knee. Nothing here is overly concerning. I guess you could say Jordan Phillips because he's been starting next to Ed Oliver. But it's always been my belief that Poona Ford should be active over Tim Stoddle anyway. So I don't really understand what the need for Jordan Phillips is here. Trent Sherfield, he's the 5th receiver, and there's only been 3 receivers, Diggs, Davis, and Hardy. And really, Davis has been severely disappointing, and Hardy just doesn't look explosive at all. I think that turf toe last year at the Saints, he only played 3 games, is really affecting him more than any of us cared to admit coming into the year. Then Trent Sherfield is just there for run blocking and pass blocking purposes. Elite blocker, but yeah. I won't say this is too concerning. For one, it was on a Wednesday, first practice of the week, and for two, or for another reason, I should say, it was a walkthrough. It was really just an estimation. So, yeah, but I am keeping an eye on if Benford and Hyde do return because we're gonna need them against the Jets with some run defense acumen. So anyway, after the injuries, keys for Bills offense. Now, I usually obviously have 3 keys, as you know by now, a staple of the show, 3 keys for the Bills offense, 3 keys for the Bills defense. I added a 4th bonus key, if you will, for this offense, just because I think this is a monumental game. I don't think we're making the playoffs if they win this. That's great. But just think about this. The Dolphins' next 5 games are a cakewalk. A cakewalk. I don't memorize it now. All I know is they play the Raiders, and they're probably going to destroy them. This Sunday. I'll go into that more detail when we talk about the AFC East look ahead and what they're doing. But back to the topic at hand. I was saying, the Dolphins are at 6-3. The Bills are obviously at 5-5, and the Dolphins' next 5 games are. I know we're most likely going to go 5-0, so that's 11-3. That's 11 wins right there. you're not winning the division or making the playoff. That's 5 more wins right there. And you don't have to just match the Dolphins with 11. You have to get more than them for sure, definitely. So you're not going to get 12 wins. Like the Dolphins are going to get to 11 wins in their next 5 weeks. And then if you're fighting for a wild card spot, that's no guarantee either, not even close. Because if the Texans somehow rally, they're only 1 game back from the Jaguars now in the AFC South. So if they win the division, that bumps the Jaguars down to a wild card spot. And guess who has a head-to-head victory over you? The Jaguars. And if the Bengals don't win their division, and if it does end up being the Ravens, which it looks like right now it's going to be, that bumps the Bengals down to wild card. Guess who has a head-to-head victory over you? The wild card. Or guess who has a head-to-head victory over you right now as well? The Cincinnati Bengals. So these wildcard teams, Jaguars and Bengals, have head-to-head victories over you. Not good. And then the Steelers somehow keep trudging along and winning, even though they don't look overly impressive. The only 2 teams really out of it, I feel like in the AFC internally, are the Patriots, who are at 2-8, and the Titans, who are at 3-6. Every other team, 1 through 14, is 4 and at least 4 wins. So that's just crazy. After the division winners, there's a whole cluster of 5 through 14 and there's only 3 wild card spots. So I'm sorry, but like you're not making the playoffs. I hope people can like face reality. Yes, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is. And the Bills are 5-5. This is disgusting. I'm about to say this, and this should blow your mind. Like, this is gross. The Bills are 5-5. Same record as the Raiders with Aiden O'Connell, who was a rookie 3rd string coming into the season and inactive. You have the same record as a rookie 3rd string quarterback, and you have the same record at 5-5 as a backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew. So you have the same record with the Raiders, who have a 3rd string rookie quarterback, and the Colts, who have a backup quarterback. O'Connell and Minshew. That is disgusting. That's just gross. Think about that. I can't believe I just said that out loud. That's wild. It's a tough road ahead, and you have the Chiefs, Eagles, Chargers, Cowboys still. You have the Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers 4 weeks in a row. You could go 0-4 in that stretch. That could like honestly, I mapped it out. I don't know if this Bills team gets more than 7 wins. They're not going to get more than 9. I'm telling you right now. I mapped it out with the rest of their schedule. I went through it, the other day. 7 and 9 wins. 7 is the floor, but 9 is the ceiling. I mean, I feel like this thing is unraveling. And yeah, let's just get into the keys to the Bills offense. Like I said, I have a 4th bonus one. This is very simple. Ride James Cook and Latavius Murray. Continue to run the ball with success as you have been. And please, Sean McDermott, I am begging you, do not take out James Cook. Okay? We don't need to be messing around and give Ty Johnson a carry before we give James Cook a carry again after the 16 plays he was out. Yes, he does have some ball security issues. He had 1 fumble loss, 2 fumbles in total. The second one bounced right back up to him. He would have had a touchdown, whatever. But Latavius Murray is actually doing what he's supposed to be doing, be a bowling ball. Now, I won't be surprised. Will I be surprised if Leonard Fournette gets elevated for this game? No, because to combat Quinnen Williams' strength, to combat the scary D-line and very deep D-line they have over there, tackles and ends respectively, pass rushers respectively, Leonard Fournette can combat that with his big bowling ball mentality, and Latavius Murray. But mainly James Cook, like, honestly, I've been saying this for weeks. His offensive snap count should be at 80% at least. Like, I don't understand why we keep messing around with, like, Latavius Murray. Is Leonard Fournette going to cut into his work? Like, Ty Johnson gets a carry before James Cook comes back in. That's abysmal. But James Cook had 109 yards last game. I think he can continue this momentum. I think I'll go a step further. I think he will continue this momentum. And since you have a new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, it was a short week. Monday to Sunday is only Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 days. And since Josh Allen clearly doesn't look right now, whether it's the shoulder, whether it's decision making, whether it's his reluctancy, whether he is reluctant to run, pass up wide open rushing lanes, then yeah, like it could be all of that can be true. But help out your quarterback by not putting so much pressure on this game. Like, I don't care if Josh Allen doesn't have more than 20 pass attempts. Ride Cook and Murray. So all that combination of Josh, Joe Brady, and just the success of the running game, especially against the Broncos, the one bright spot. Secondly, get Josh Allen on the move. Design QB runs. Now, I know you can't control that Josh passes up wide open rushing lanes that he just, like, those are called scrambles. Scrambles. When his first read isn't there and the second read isn't there, even his third read, in the past he would no hesitate, he would for sure, definitely without hesitation, like I said, take off on the ground. And obviously this year, have they coached out of him after week one? The big thing with McDermott was not taking hits. Josh, you're still allowed to run, just slide. Russell Wilson is like, I don't want to say scared, but he's the most, he slides within an instant. Like he will slide within an instant. Russell Wilson knows his body, knows his age, but I'm not comparing. Like, Josh Allen's on a whole nother stratosphere than Russell Wilson. Not even the same conversation. But Josh, like, maybe they did coach out of you, but just don't take big hits. You can run, just don't try to hurdle the guy 5 yards away from a first down. Don't try to put your injured shoulder down and plow through the guy. Don't try to do any of this wacky Superman stuff. Just be yourself. Just take off and slide. And on that 1 4th and 2 last game, he would have had it if he did that. Instead, he throws 15 yards to get 2, and it's way overthrown to Khalil Shakir. But what you can control as an offensive coordinator, as Joe Brady, is getting him on the move. Maybe you run out of play action. Maybe you do some read options. Maybe you do a QB sneak near the goal line instead of giving it to Latavius Murray or Leonard Fournette. Because just get him on the move. Because defenses know they've really boxed Josh. Think about it. They've really boxed Josh into passing this year because they know he is kind of reluctant. Oh, jeez, not again. Reluctant to run this year. So, yeah, he's kind of boxed in. So get him on the move if you're Joe Brady. And if you're Sean McDermott, I would be Joe Brady, like, have some design plays specifically for Josh in the playbook. He is an alien. His best part of his game is rushing. Run smartly though, but get him on the move. Next, force the ball to Stefon Diggs, no matter who's on him. Have plays specifically designed to get Diggs open and get the ball in his hands. I don't give a damn if it's Sauce Gardner. I don't care if it's DJ Reed. I don't care if it's Jordan Whitehead who picked off Josh Allen 3 times in week 1 all by himself. Get Stefon Diggs the ball. Shakir, I mean, it's not his fault that Josh overthrew him. He only had 1 catch, but it was for 24 yards. But he's very sure-handed. Gabe Davis, I mean, the most disappointing player on this team by far. Like, he literally caused the interception, but Sean McDermott didn't punish him. Meanwhile, he punishes James Cook for 16 plays for fumble. Neither nor that. I'm not getting back on that. But what I'm saying is force 14 the ball. It's okay to force a superstar like Stefon Diggs the ball. Joe Brady, like I said in the beginning, has better on Jefferson at LSU. Has better on Jamar Chase at LSU in 2019 and that gaudy national championship team. So he knows how to get the ball to superstar wide receivers. Tell Josh, if nothing's open, basically what you need to have, this might sound stupid, but basically what you need to have is kind of like, F it. Steph's down somewhere. Or F it, Steph's down there somewhere. Like, you need to have a specific place for 14. It's okay to force him the ball. Like, don't be pressured to force him the ball, but at the same time, like, force him the ball. Don't throw interceptions, but, like, this offense needs to run through him, and I think Joe Brady will recognize that with his past experience with those superstar wide receivers that I've touched on a few different times. Now, the bonus key I have for the offense, the 4th bonus one, get the ball quickly to combat a deep and very talented Jets defensive line. There's literally 8 or 9 guys that can play on this defensive line. They're so deep. They're so talented. You got Jermaine Johnson off the edge. You got Bryce Huff off the edge. You got Will McDonald off the edge. I know Carl Lawson's been inactive most of the season, but you got him off the edge. And then in the interior, I know Ale Woods is on the hour. So you got John Franklin Myers. You got Quentin Williams. You got Quentin Jefferson. I mean, this goes on and on and on. So that D-line is the bread and butter of this defense. I'm not saying that Sauce and DJ Reed and Jordan Whitehead in the secondary isn't. Even Tony Adams and Adrian Amos. They're deep at every position, but D-line is 8 or 9 guys deep. So get the ball out quickly. And like I said, if Josh has doesn't even have more than 20 pass attempts this game. I don't care as long as we win. Like we need to have a good comeback win like 10 plus, win by double digits wins. Win by double digits. That's what I want to see. But Josh has got to have quick trigger. He does have the longest triggers, one of the longest triggers this year, really his whole career in the league, because he just throws off platform. He throws on the move most of the times. But to neutralize his defense line, again, get Josh on the move, whether it's him scrambling, but mostly design QB runs with your Joe Brady. So, with your Joe Brady, if you're Joe Brady. Next, 3 keys for Bills defense. I just have 3 here. I just want to touch that bonus one for the offense. Keys for keys. I was looking at the 9 keys for Bills defense. First, again, 9 over points. Just prepare. This is situational. Prepare for a run-heavy Jets game plan. They just waived Michael Carter the other day. The Cardinals claimed him yesterday. Apparently, the Bucks, Falcons had put in a claim too. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I thought the Rams were really beating on him, but apparently they didn't even put in a claim. But the Cardinals got him. Nice little duo there, James Cook and Michael Carter. But back to the Bills at hand. Very for run heavy. I mean, Breece Hall is a superstar in the making. I feel like he's not like Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson for like best running backs in the league, but he's like top 5. Like if you're looking at running backs under 25 right now, he's like one of the best. So he killed us in week 1, mainly with screens, but I feel like he's ever since they reduced his snap count around like week 4 or 5 or 5 or 6, I should say. I believe it was week 5, whatever. He has no snap count from his torn ACL suffered last year. He's fully back. He's been on a tear since then. There's not many touchdown opportunities for him because the Jets can't move the ball with Zach Wilson, really, but he can break out an explosive run. He is powerful, and he has surprisingly really, really good receiving skills. And they might mix in Dalvin Cook, but mainly Breece Hall here, just try to stop him. Like, Ed Oliver's really been quiet since the first 5 games of the season. I've seen Jordan Phillips and Tim Settle and Linval Joseph aren't doing much, especially Settle. I want to see Poona Ford active. I continue to say I don't know why he's not active at all. Like, not even for a game. He's been active 2 games this year. Yeah, woohoo, what does that do? Anyway, but pray for a run-heavy Jets game plan with Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, but mainly Breece Hall, who killed us in week 1. Slow down Garrett Wilson. Secondly, slow down Garrett Wilson as the Jets don't really have any other reliable weapons outside of him. Now, they have decent enough weapons, I guess, but like Randall Cobb, he's been inactive the last few weeks, healthy scratch. Like at tight ends, Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzomah don't really scare me. Tyler Conklin has been heating up the last couple weeks, but like Allen Lazard, think of a Gabe Davis type. He's just have more sure hands than Gabe Davis, but same body type as Gabe Davis. But superstar here is Garrett Wilson. He does deserve better at quarterback, but whatever. Zach Wilson will force the ball to Garrett Wilson, and that's why if Benford doesn't play, then Rasul Douglas will have to step up and be on him, because I think Dane Jackson can handle Allen Lazard and Taron Johnson, and maybe you shift Jordan Poyer down to linebacker to handle Xavier Gibson in the slot. But Garrett Wilson, if Benford's out, in or out, he'll have to handle him. Rasul Douglas will have to be physical with him. And Douglas is a very physical corner. He's 6'2", 210 in his own right. So he's physical and lengthy, and he's got a lot of girth. That's not the right word. He's got a lot of muscle to him. So anyway, just I don't really like trust. Obviously, I'm not talking about Breece Hall or Dalvin Cook here. I'm talking about through the air, actual wide receivers and tight ends, like actual receiving weapons. Garrett Wilson's really the only one I like fully trust there. Like I said, Allen Lazard, Tyler Conklin, CJ Uzomah, Xavier Gibson. Like the only one I'm worried about is Garrett Wilson. So if you need to double team Garrett Wilson, go on ahead. Except with all the injuries, this defense, especially if Benford and or Hyde, or maybe even both are out again, I don't know how much you can double team. But yeah. Third and final key for this defense. Don't let Zach Wilson beat you at chunk plays. Now, I know I've been very hard on Zach Wilson in this episode. Who hasn't? But like occasionally, Zach Wilson will show some signs of life and just have a random like 20-plus yard throw here and there. And he could have a few of those, if not much more, to Garrett Wilson. That's why I'm saying double team him if everyone's healthy in the secondary. Be physical with Rasul Douglas, because Xavier Gibson is very, very speedy. He's the one that returned the touchdown for the walk-off return touchdown week 1 against the Bills. So we know his speed. But they've got him going in the receiving game more. And Zach Wilson will have those random chunk plays here and there. And you're like, where did that come from? Like, Zach Wilson's been terrible. How did we get beat on that? So just don't let that happen. They're going to use the run a lot to set up those big. Maybe they go play action. Maybe they just Like, they're going to use a lot of run action, a lot of run plays with Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, respectively, mainly Breece Hall again, to set up those big chunk plays. So just don't let that happen. The last thing you need is Zach Wilson beating you. Like, Breece Hall is worrisome enough. Like, you can't let Zach Wilson beat you through the air for those big chunk plays. Next, I always like to do my players of the game predictions. Now, on offense, I think it is going to be Stefon Diggs. And one of my 5 game predictions is actually tied to Stefon Diggs. I'm being really bullish here on Stefon Diggs for this game specifically. Defense, Terrell Bernard, with Ed Oliver kind of quieting down. Greg Rousseau playing through injury, although he's finally looking like himself. Our run defense is very, very good right now with Ed Oliver playing through injury as well. Greg Rousseau playing through injury. The whole secondary basically beat up. In no Daquan Jones, Matt Milano, Trey White, all that. I think Terrell Bernard is going to have to step up. Him and Taron Johnson are like the last remaining like high-level guys that aren't either playing through injury or out through injury. I think Terrell Bernard's a very good run stuffer. Now, when he's blocked by a bigger offensive lineman, it's hard for him to shed just because he's only like 6 foot 220, 6 foot 230. He's a bit even smaller than Matt Milano, and that's saying something because Matt Milano is pretty small. But it's hard for him to shed blocks. But other than that, he's a great downhill player. They'll send him on disguised blitzes. They'll send him on delayed blitzes, I should say. Now, I wish McDermott wouldn't do that as much. Go all out blitz nearly as much as he does. I'm not going back to the end of that Broncos game where he did that. But, yeah, I think Terrell Brown is going to pick up a lot of slack here. So, my offense player game is Stefon Diggs. My defense player game predictively for me personally is Terrell Bernard. 5 game predictions. Now, last week I used prize pick player props. I am going to do that for the first one. It's a Jets related one. So don't get mad at me, but I don't bet. If you do, I'll always say it's cool. It's not like I'm going to like parade you or anything, whatever. I just don't do it personally. I can. I'm of age, but like I don't. But yeah. I just made an account again to reference, but I only have one because for some reason they didn't have a lot of listings, and the few listings that they did have, I didn't really like the over unders for. So first and only prize picks player prop here, Breece Hall over 56.5 rushing yards. As they say, I'm smashing the over, if you will. Not if you will, I'm smashing the over, as they say, because I think Breece Hall is going to destroy us in the receiving game, like screen game and rushing game on the ground. Like I said, they call him Breece the Beast for a reason, because once he gets out in the open field, like he doesn't have straight line speed. He's not elusive like James Cook, but he's athletic. He's quick. He hits the hole better than James Cook. He runs with conviction. He plays with conviction. So easily smashing the over on Breece Hall over 56.5 rushing yards. Now these next 3 actual predictions, 5th and last one, again, is the score prediction. Who will win? The second one, Stefon Diggs has at least 10 receptions. These aren't prize picks props, but I think you feed the ball. Joe Brady knows how to get superstar receivers the ball. I mentioned that. I keep mentioning it because it's true. He has past experience with that. So get Stefon Diggs the ball. Keep him happy. Not that I'm worried about that, but there's got to be a few. The bottom line is there got to be. The bottom line is there's got to be a few plays in this playbook where it's like, F it, Steph is down somewhere. F it, 14's down there somewhere. Got to happen. Like, force him the ball. Because Gabe Davis sure ain't damn doing nothing. So, yeah. Next, Josh Allen has at least 30 rushing yards. Now, I still think Josh is reluctant and a lot hesitant to scramble for first downs when he would have easily in past years when his initial few reads aren't there. But I think Joe Brady's going to get him on the move. He's been his QB coach for the first half of this year, basically the first half. I think he's going to get him on the move. He knows his tendencies, and design QB runs are a big thing, I feel like, in this game. So Josh Allen, at least 30 rushing yards. That doesn't sound like a lot, right? But looking at his past body of work, but for this year, he hasn't been rushing, like I said. So next, Terrell Bernard has an interception. Like I said, him and Taron Johnson are really the only two that have been playing or fully healthy or haven't been out or single game or playing through injury. Terrell Bernard had that one concussion scare, but 4th prediction, Terrell Bernard has an interception. I hope the Bills, like I said, aren't beating those big Zach Wilson chunk plays, but I feel like with some disguised coverage or some delayed blitzes, the few times, I hope they don't do it a lot, but maybe Trevor Bernard can trick Zach Wilson into one or two, but he has an interception. And then lastly, fifth prediction, Bills win the game. This is really, really low scoring. This is total of 34. I'm going with Bills win 20-14. I think Joe Brady, yes, Joe Brady will fix some things, but I don't think he's going to fix it all at once. It's a short week. They're playing really the best defense in the league. Monday to Sunday is only 6 days. Best defense in the league, like I said, is the Jets. Fearsome D-line, fearsome linebackers with C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams. Fearsome secondary, led by Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. Mainly Sauce Gardner. But Bills win 2014. I just don't feel like all these offensive issues will be fixed right away. Yeah, I think Joe Brady will give us more play action looks for Josh. I think he'll do more design runs for Josh. I think he's going to force it, and I'm really bullish by Stefon Diggs, hence why I have him getting as one of my predictions at least 10 receptions. But Bills win 20-14. I think Breece Hall is going to have to carry the Jets. I think he's going to get tired. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Breece Hall is like 20 or 25 carries and a few receptions, so 30 touches in total in this game. But Bills win 20-14. AFC East, look at what's the rest going like? Well, obviously, Bills versus Jets at Orchard Park, Highmark Stadium. Bills win 20-14. Really low scoring, defensive battle, I feel like. Or just offensive stalling out because the Bills' defense isn't that good. Dolphins versus Raiders. This is what the Dolphins do, guys. The Dolphins are 6-0 this year under bad teams below 500, and they're 0-3 versus good teams above 500. They're 0-3 against the Chiefs, Eagles, and Bills. Thank God the Bills beat the Dolphins. Anyway, back to my point, though. This is what they do. They beat up on bad teams, and they're going to go 5-0 in their next 5 games starting right now. I could see this ending like 40-17, 40-20, something like that. I mean, the Dolphins' offense is just explosive, so Dolphins are going to beat up on the Raiders, unfortunately. And then Patriots are on a bye. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just what's going to happen. Then Patriots are on a bye this week. Holy crap, do they need it? I mean, Mac Jones was a terrible pick, and then all of a sudden, in the last 2 minutes, you return to Bailey Zappi, and then he throws an interception in triple coverage off a fake spike. I mean, in the Germany game, it was in the morning. I couldn't stop laughing. It made my day. I was so jolly and happy for the rest of the day. I mean, I couldn't stop laughing. It was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. Throwing an interception off a spike. Wow. Throwing an interception off a fake spike. I mean, it was the most hilarious thing, again, I've ever seen. I couldn't stop laughing. I was just beside myself. It was awesome. Seeing the Patriots miserable is awesome. And Bill, good old Bill, he could be out. So anyway, that's my preview. I just wanted to touch more on Joe Brady in the beginning. Let me guys know. I got my words all jumbled up today. I want you guys to let me know in the comments below what you're thinking for this game. Again, I do think the Bills beat the Jets 20-14. A few quick plugs. You can find me personally on Twitter. Read the ticker down there at @Weingartner13. You can follow the show on Twitter at Around Slice. You can follow the you can watch /and/or listen to this podcast on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or of course wherever you get your favorite podcast, wherever you pod, you can listen on that. And lastly, you can follow the Around the Slice, support the show on Patreon for only $3 a month. You get extra exclusive content, so like every Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what's going on, how busy I am and whatnot. You get power rankings 1 through 32, looking at the league as a whole and not just the Bills. Anyways, guys, I do think the Bills once again beat the Jets, go to 1-1 against the Jets this year. I sure hope they beat this team. Boy. Anyways, Bills beat the Jets 20-14. I will be back Tuesday. I'm going to be back 2 days after that because I do work. I explained the whole internship thing last week. I do work on Monday, so unfortunately I won't be back. But it gives you guys kind of like settle with your feelings with the Bills. So I'll be back 2 days later. So what is that? I'll be back. 17. I'll be back Tuesday, September 21st. So 2 days after the game for the recap and my thoughts. And I hope I'm in a happy mood. I still don't think they're making playoffs, but we can still try, right? Anyways, guys, this has been Around the Slice, and thank you for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.